nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.
Yay, you're together in the same place.
Hi, how are you?
Together. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much. I appreciate both of your time this morning. Beginning with you, Rosamund, this is such an exciting series with women centered at the helm of it. What has been the most exciting thing about this project for you, from learning that you had the role, now watching the baby get ready to walk?
It is like that. It is like having a child that you've just thought was very beautiful, and now you've actually got to sort of show it to the world and suddenly become really aware of that not everybody will love it as you do, and
right.
all those things. I've loved getting to know the really fantastic group of actors in general, but particularly the women we've got on our show. We've got an amazing group of girls, and continue beyond all the ones you see in the first season. At some point in the journey beyond what you've been able to watch so far, we get to the White Tower, which is the seat of power of all of the Aes Sedai. And so for me, as an Aes Sedai, that was pretty exciting, because suddenly, these layered women, of which Moiraine is only one, you've suddenly got a whole institution of them. And then you've got some sparks really starting to fly. You've got each of these strong women with their various warders. And that whole world is just so interesting. The bond between the warders who share similar experiences, these women who are from different ajas, so there are different factions within, different belief systems within the tower, but all of us are incredibly powerful. And, obviously you can imagine a sort of residence full of very, very powerful women. It makes for some interesting drama.
And I love that, though, because that is reflective of society. All women can be intelligent, all women can do all these things, and they're competing based on that, or have their interactions based on their abilities. And, so we always love that.
It's a hierarchy not based on looks or youth, or, also these Aes Sedai live incredibly long lives and sort of cheat time as well. So you're absolutely right about that. It's interesting. Yes, beauty doesn't really sort of factor in terms of a way to sort of get ahead, or something that we've come so sort of annoyingly accustomed to in cinema.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Daniel, for you, an epic tale, and the men are also very important to the storytelling. With something like that's been adapted from the series of books, fandoms are very, very protective and possessive of these things. Are you a person who tunes into fandoms, and what are your expectations and hopes for how people receive this?
I mean, I would imagine if you would ask me that question before I started this project, I would have said no. But the thing is, with this fandom in particular, it's been so positive, and they've actually felt like a support system for us, like they were on the same team. I mean, they're just a really, really amazing group of individuals, and they're so dedicated. So I have tuned in, and I'm very proud to call them the Wheel of Time fans. It feels like one family. So we feel the responsibility. We don't want to let them down. We feel like we're making a wonderful show for them. But it helps us. It's a long shoot, and a lot of us have relocated, moved families, left families to be here to commit to this. And so knowing that those fans are there, and we watch some of the trailer reactions and seeing their faces, how much this meant to them is just unreal.
Yeah, I tipped off a couple of people about these interviews, and they were like, oh my God. So I thank you for your time. This is a marvelous series, very, very interesting and complex, and I'm looking forward to more reactions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tipped off a couple of people about these interviews, and they were like, oh my God. So I thank you for your time. This is a marvelous series, very, very interesting and complex, and I'm looking forward to more reactions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ladies, hello.
Hi. How's it going?
So good. Very good. Thank you. I'm happy to see the two of you together, not a whole bunch of little boxes. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your time this morning. This is a fabulous series. It's so intricate and nuanced. It's woman strong, We love all of those things. Zoe, beginning with you, since women are at the helm, nothing can be done without women, which is reflective of how the world as a whole works. What was your first reaction to reading your part and just the journey that she was going to be on?
Yeah, I, for one, have never read a character so real and complex and flawed and human. There's so many things that I dislike about Nynaeve. There's so many things I absolutely love about her. And I think that's what makes her human. You know, none of us are perfect. Playing her has been an absolute joy. The journey that she goes on in season 1 in particular is really something special. She's forced to deal with herself in a way that you know, she isn't necessarily ready for, but the strength in her character just shows everyone that she's something else. I love her. She's been an absolute joy to play over the last 2 years. I feel really lucky, and she's allowed me to I guess come to terms with a lot of who I am as well. There's a lot of Nynaeve in me. The way that she accesses her emotions has been really therapeutic for me as well. I mean, she's quick to anger, and I think people in society, and in particular women, are often kind of made to feel like they're not allowed to show anger, and her kind of fierceness in terms of being so unabashed with what emotions she's portraying, and she's very much take it or leave it in terms of Nynaeve, and that's been really liberating for me as Zoe. Yeah.
I love that. And Madeleine, same for you. We get to see so many different layers of trying to balance with relationships and being part of the group and still being strong and still finding her voice and all of these things that she will experience. The same for you, your reactions to your character when you first learned about it.
Yeah, I mean, I really connect with Egwene, and again, I think that is a massive testament to the brilliant casting choices that people have made. You know, similar to Zoe, I feel like, you know, there's Egwene in me, and you know, I think one of the things that really fascinates me about Egwene is this kind of inner struggle that she's constantly going through. She's very independent and determined, and feels like she's destined for something greater than what is there for her in the Two Rivers. But that comes also at a cost of leaving behind, you know, her family and, you know, her loved ones and Rand. And you know, this is really tough and heartbreaking choices that she has to make. And then, you know, when they're on the road, all of the other relationship dynamics that come into play. You know, I think a lot of the time people see women who are fiercely independent and go after what they want as, you know, as a negative thing. But no, in this world, that's not radical. It's not something that's unusual. And you know, I think that will really resonate with audiences, and particularly women, you know, in this day and age.
And it's refreshing because we see so many fantasy types of things where that's not the case.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud to see both of you in your roles representing for women and smart, strong women. And not only that, women who their merits, it's meritorious more so. It's not we're competing for the prince or we're, you know, trying to reach this level. And that made it particularly epic for me. Thank you, ladies, for your time. This is literally a magical series, and you both are wonderful in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Happy to see you guys together. That's always great when we can get you guys in the same place. With this is a really epic series that has required a lot of demands, a lot of time filming, and even uprooting your lives in a certain sense. Beginning with you, Josha, tell me about just moving into this project and how it's impacted your life and what you've enjoyed most about it.
It has impacted my life in a, you know, my life has totally changed. Everything is different now. You know, when I auditioned for this and I didn't know anything, I was introduced because of the audition to the world of the Wheel of Time, and I didn't know what part I was auditioning for. And but then I got the part of Rand. I heard I was going to play Rand Arthur, and then I just started this journey. I took that plane to Prague, where I still am now shooting season 2, and I started reading the scripts and the books, of course, and yeah, consumed myself in the world of the Wheel of Time as much as I possibly could. And then, of course, we also had the stunts and the horse riding and the dialect, and it has been until now one big, great, amazing journey.
You know, the same for you, Marcus. I don't think people realize when you do these big epic stories, it's more than just, oh, stand in front of the green screen, spit out a couple lines and go home. It's a total transformative, immersive, life-altering thing. What has that been like for you, Marcus?
Yeah. I think when everyone will see it, I think because of the scale of it, I think people will kind of assume that, you know, it's purely visual effects for a lot of it, and the visual effects team are incredible. But I think a lot of it is kind of built there. You know, the sets, each city that we go to, you know, they're building new cities, new towns, and you know, the village in the first episode, they just kind of built a whole village for us, literally. So like the scale of it is incredible, and it's so immersive. So when you're walking on set and they've built a whole village really for you, it, as an actor, it kind of assists your performance in a way that's kind of invaluable. So yeah, it's been an amazing project to work on.
Along with that, Josh, you know, obviously it begins with the words on the page, but this is costuming, and time period is so much part of the majesty of this show. When you got to see yourself for the first time in the whole regalia, what did you think when you looked at yourself and you finally got to see the whole thing? And then the same for you, Marcus.
I think it was for me when I walked on set in the Two Rivers with when everything came together in my costume, with all the characters in costume, with all the extras, and the set of the Two Rivers with actual dogs walking around and horses and goats. That's when I, you know, realized Rand had arrived in the Two Rivers.
Yeah, I think similar. I think from the scale of the sets, like, you know, Perrin's a blacksmith, and they'll build a whole forge for him where he works, but then right down to the intricate detail of the jewelry you wear, or like whether it be a wedding ring or the belts and the buckles that you have, they're all individually crafted by the team we have out here. So, you know, as an actor, when all of that work has gone in before you've even said a line, you feel like, you know, you're in the best hands possible to kind of create this character.
You both are young men, young in your career. Do you feel like, ooh, you know, how do you feel now? The baby is going to be born pretty soon for all of us to see. So how do you feel now as you wait for the world to see it?
Well, I guess it's nice that we have had some time. You know, it was supposed to be 9 months of shooting, but because of COVID, it took us 2 years. And now, you know, this press stuff is also, you know, not in real. We're not traveling around yet because of COVID. So I feel like we have had some time to think about it, and to be more ready than, I guess, if it would be another way.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you, gentlemen. This is an epic series. I love both of your contributions to it, and I'm excited to talk to people about it once it airs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you so much. Good morning or good afternoon for your time. This is a wonderful series. Fantasy is always an exciting genre that people gravitate to. Marigo, beginning with you, what is it about the fantasy drama, and particularly Wheel of Time, that just keeps audiences wanting more and more and more of this epic tale?
Well, I'm a new girl to it all. In terms of fantasy and genre, I came to it, you know, it's the first fantasy drama I produced. So I am completely hooked. I think it's about, for me, it was about the characters. You know, but that always drives everything for me. And you've got these 5 kids, and they are, you're invested in them straight away, and they go on this journey. And behind it all, there's the balance, imbalance, there's the the female empowerment, there's the, there's so much to hook you in. And the incredible range of female parts, which I'm loving, all ages, young to very old, and very strong women. So yeah, there's so much with the Wheel of Time that is grounded in stuff we recognize and love. I think,
Michael, with your involvement also with this project, although this is set in a different time, everything they're discussing and experiences, sort aside from the horseback fighting, is very timely with gender roles and power and belief of self and your mind and the strength of the mind. What attracted you when this was first presented to you?
I mean, to me, it was something in the fantasy genre that you hadn't seen before. This is a world where, magic exists, so one power exists, and only women can channel it, and therefore this sort of matriarchal society has grown up, and seeing the differences of what that means and how that affects everyone, the dynamics of character was fascinating, because it's like you have, the warder. I mean, he's like dedicated to, just essentially like doing whatever his Aes Sedai counterpart needs to have happen in order for her to do her job. And she's like the breadwinner. I mean, it's something you haven't seen in fantasy before. And I think it makes it so fresh. And I think makes it, it elevates over, somewhat sort of outdated gender dynamics that even, you saw in Game of Thrones a lot. And so I think the show is a show of today, and is a sort of, a feminist and also modern approach to the genre.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, Marigo, for both of you, beginning with you, Marigo, when you finally got to see a little bit of the show, what was your first reaction? What was the first thing you saw that you can recall that made you go like, wow, this looks incredible?
Well, I've been watching every frame and every cut and so I'm probably like, because I've been doing all the posts. I think actually watching even just the first episode and getting what I wanted from it for an audience to get, which was, you love the characters, you invest in the characters, you follow them on their journey, and then, oh my God, that battle. And it's quite something. And you come out the other end and you're wrenched out and ready to go with them out on their journey. I think that was amazing for me.
Absolutely. Well, they are giving me my time. Thank you. It looks amazing. It is beautiful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, Rafe. How are you? Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. This is an incredible show that, although it's fantasy, all roles are fantasy, but in this case, although it's fantasy, it's still touching on some very poignant topics: women empowerment and belief in self, camaraderie, and all these wonderful themes. What was the process of adapting this popular book series into a film or TV version that would appeal to such a wide range of audience? What was that process like for you?
Well, so I had read the books before I came to the show, and it was something that I really believed in and wanted to bring to life too. So, right from the beginning, I knew, luckily, because there's 14 of them, so it's a lot to read, how I wanted to approach the adaptation and what were the things I really wanted to lean into from the books. And the themes that you just hit on are the themes that really excited me in it and felt different. There's a sense of hope in this world that I think is exciting, and that people can take something from. I think the fact that only women can do magic in this world, and what that means for all of these different cultures and all of these individual different women, I think it's a really interesting concept to explore. And it's a great foundation for seeing these different kinds of characters than we're used to seeing.
Absolutely. What's particularly impressive, the performances are amazing, fantastic cast, but just visually, it's very beautiful. It's very complex, what we're seeing. And I imagine show running something that has to do with fantasy is far different than anything else. What would you say the biggest difference has been for you for this project compared to other things, Jeb, you've worked on?
I think just the scope and scale of it, it's just so gigantic. And, you know, the money involved and the time involved in making it is truly much more like making 4 feature films back to back to back than it is making a traditional television show. So that's been a big piece of it for me, is getting my head around the scale of it and how we can approach it, leaning on people that I'm lucky enough to have around me who do know how to do those things. And for all of us, just kind of diving in, because the truth is it's a bigger television show than most any one of us has made. So, you know, sometimes you just have to trust your gut and go with it and try to deliver that vision to the screen.
Along at the head of this phenomenal cast, you have Rosamund Pike, who is amazing and wonderful in pretty much anything that she's in. When you had a chance to look back at the shoots, if you're doing like dailies and looking at those things, what do you think of when you look at her embodying that role? What do you think about when you look at her?
I mean, the amazing thing for me, and the thing that I think is the most, you know, important part of her performance to me, is how she grounds it, how she makes these extraordinary things feel real. You know, when she reaches out with her hand to touch the one power, I look in her eyes and I believe that woman is reaching out to touch a power that I can't touch. And I think that is the incredible thing that she does and brings to the show, is this authenticity to these things that could feel distancing, of magic and, you know, big stories about long dead civilizations. You know, she makes it all feel real and present, and she believes it 100% when she's saying it. And I think that really translates to letting the audience be there with her and really believe the scenes.
For sure. Well, that is my time, sir. I just want
so
to be
fast.
able to, I know, I want to be able to make little smoky things come out of my hands too and do all that and protect folks.
Don't we all? Okay, nice to meet you.
You too. Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.